This week, to be closer to China, what accounts for the governance success of the Communist Party of China? There are multiple reasons, but one essential capability which is underreported and underappreciated is the CPC's personnel system. The selection, education, training, monitoring of its cadres, its officials. Why is cadre training so crucial?
尤其是现在很多事情，那都是面临很多新情况、新问题，不学习、不培训，他这个能力跟不上。
What are officials learning?
比如说经济学的知识，比如说社会学的知识，比如说文化学的知识，比如说生态学的知识，还比如国际问题的知识，还比如历史知识等等。
How can a grassroots party leader be promoted?
叫做信念坚定，为民服务，勤政务实，敢于担当，清正廉洁。
How can a cadre be dismissed?
我们过去一些人之所以出问题，是因为党性出了问题。有德无才是次品，无才无德是废品，有才无德是补品。
This week, be closer to China. Two facts about the Communist Party of China, the CPC, the party, are not in dispute. The party is celebrating the 100th anniversary of its founding, and the party has transformed the economy and society of the largest population on earth. How has the party endured, and how has it accomplished this Herculean task? One of the most important reasons is often overlooked, underreported, and certainly underappreciated: the party's personnel system. How the party selects, educates, appoints, trains, monitors, evaluates, retrains, promotes, and, when necessary, demotes its cadres and officials. This is the purview of the organization department of the CPC Central Committee, which has long operated outside the glare of the media or public discourse. We explore how the party's personnel system actually works, the down-to-earth practice at the party's governance grassroots, and the policy-setting theory at the party's central intellectual brain trust. We focus on the party secretaries of China's nearly 3,000 county-level administrative regions, the public sector CEOs of their regions. What do these county party secretaries actually do? What do they need to learn, and how do they learn it? While all political systems have trade-offs, to discern how the party works at 100, discern how the party's personnel system works. To be closer to China. This is Shaojin County, located in northwest Sichuan province with a population of over 82,000. In 2012, nearly 70% of the villages in this county, 88 out of 134, were mired in poverty. In 2016, Zhang Fei was appointed as village first secretary. Since then, he has been promoting the area's scenic beauty and local customs via live streaming and has garnered nearly 5 million followers on China's social media platforms.
就能够看到远处的山，夏天能够看到浮云，然后冬天就是雪景，非常漂亮。最冷的时候是零下差不多5度吧。因为这个景色是很奇特的，就是头天晚上下雨，然后第二天就会出现这种景色。地表温度随着太阳出来之后，它这个地表温度上升，然后水蒸气然后慢慢上升，才会出现这个景色。
In 2019, his live streams helped villagers sell 5.5 tons of apples and 150 kilograms of matsutake mushrooms, increasing the income of the 100-plus households.
我们咬一口这个红的地方，是我刚刚咬的时候，汁都已经在飞溅了。 然后咬到嘴里面那种清脆的口感，是不是特别想吃？继续给你们看我们小金的苹果的汁啊，这样能看到吗？
Today, all residents in this small mountain village have been lifted out of poverty, and the infrastructure, such as transportation, telecommunications, and logistics services, have been greatly improved. Now, Zhang is busy building a homestay, a yoga studio, and a tourist resort to create more jobs for local villagers and attract more tourists from all over the country. In recent years, China's live streaming economy has developed rapidly. As of the end of 2020, the number of streaming users in China has exceeded 600 million. In the first half of 2020 alone, over 10 million live shows were hosted nationwide with nearly 50 billion views. On average, each person watched more than 30 live views. The annual revenue of China's live e-commerce exceeded 1 trillion yuan in 2020 and will hit 2 trillion yuan in 2021. This remarkable trend has turned many county party secretaries into online anchors.
买它，买它，买它，买它，买它！诸位乡民年货，大家好，我是中共新民县委书记秦立军。
真是好计划，欢迎大家品鉴。
直播间我出去就是临洮县的县委书记。今天呢，我是给老百姓代美这个北河的代言人，就是我们北河残局代言的店小二。
Hello， 高县黄金牙，哎呀，太爽了！代表全县53万人民，真诚的欢迎各位网友来我们高县，高兴 ，OK， 高兴。
On the occasion of the 100th anniversary of the founding of the CPC, on June 29th, the CPC Central Committee selected and commended 105 National Outstanding County Party Secretaries. Why is the County Party Secretary so important? What role do they play in China's modern governance system?
The post of the County Party Secretary is very important and very special. In the organizational structure of the CPC and the national government, a county is an important connecting link between the higher-up administrative jurisdiction and the lower-level administrative regions. It involves many elements ranging from the CPC to the government, the military and civilians, from east to west and from north to south throughout the entirety of the country. A county is like a microcosm of the entire nation in terms of the functions it fulfills. Therefore, what's required of a county's CPC secretary is very high. If you can be a competent party secretary of a county, you can be a competent party secretary of a province.
A county in China often has a population ranging from 1 or 2 million to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands. The party secretary of a county is the top leader of that region, and his work is to oversee the overall situation. He is involved in all aspects of that area's reform, development, and stability. The achievements and development outlook of a county is, to a considerable extent, related to the competency and ability of the party secretary.
Well-governed counties are role models for the country. China has nearly 3,000 county-level administrative regions, which includes municipal districts, county-level cities, etc., as well as counties per se, and has the same number of county-level party secretaries. In China's 1,440 counties and autonomous counties, there are 640 million permanent residents. China's ongoing process of modernization and urbanization is catalyzed in part by the process of transforming counties into districts and cities of higher level. And with high-quality development, the new national standard, the education and training of county leaders has become more important.
General Secretary Xi Jinping, who once served as a county party secretary, understands the importance of this role, so he pays special attention to their training and education.
The education of CPC secretaries at the county level has been ramped up dramatically. Basically, all the party secretaries must sign up for the training and education programs. Especially now that we are facing many new situations, they may not be able to keep up with the latest developments if they don't learn things or receive training.
Each day, there are millions of stories. Each one can open new perspectives, new possibilities, wherever you look. We are there to see, discover, explore. We put the pieces together to find what really matters to you, all around the world, all around the clock. Our reporters are at home across the globe. From our headquarters in Beijing and production centers in Washington, Nairobi, and London, China Global Television Network. Stories from across the globe, reaching people across the globe. CGTN. See the difference.
China's national cadre training base includes the party school of the CPC Central Committee and 3 executive leadership academies in Yan'an, Jingganshan, and Pudong. There are also party schools, administrative colleges, leadership academies, and socialist colleges at provincial, municipal, and county levels. Among them, institutions at city and county levels have undertaken approximately 90% of the education and training of grassroots cadres.
As part of the institutionalized career improvement regimen, all of our officials and party cadres are required to regularly go to party schools or official training academies. Even if you do not go to these institutions to receive training, you still must ensure that the study tasks are being completed through other means at your workplace. In this regard, since the 18th National Congress of the CPC, there have been clear and concrete rules that every official must learn, and they must complete all their study tasks.
When it comes to the education and training of officials, we generally refer to a style of group study in a class setting. This is organized by the Organization Department of the CPC Committee. In the case of party-wide training, it is organized by the Bureau of Official Education, a subsidiary of the CPC Central Organization Department. The Bureau is specifically responsible for the education and training of officials of the whole party. It's also responsible for carrying out group training on the ground. In fact, there is an inter-ministerial joint committee overseeing the activities of the Bureau. Several ministries related to official education need to work out a training plan and schedule every year, and they are in charge of setting the tone and providing the blueprint. So, after each party congress, there will be an organizational work conference which will touch upon the planning of how to educate and train officials. So, every 5 years, the CPC formulates a plan of official education and training.
Cadres at provincial, municipal, and county levels must attend party schools or approved training institutions for a total of 3 months or about 550 hours within 5 years. Officials below township levels should participate in training for at least 12 days or 90 hours each year. What do they learn?
Whether it is the Central Party School or party schools at all levels, the content of official education is mainly composed of 4 aspects. The first is theoretical education. The main course that all officials study is theory. That is, the guiding philosophy of the Communist Party of China. By having this unified way of thinking, they maintain a high degree of political and operational alignment with the principles set by the Central Committee. The second is to strengthen commitment to the party line, including the mission and the purpose of the party, and the discipline and the rules of the party. Every party official should understand these most basic requirements of the party. The third is to train their professional skills. Party officials who come to study are often the governing officials of the country, facing the heavy task of reform and development. Regardless of where they come from and what position they hold, no official can say his skills are enough. The fourth is to train officials on general knowledge. To lead China's modernization drive, CPC officials need to have a wealth of knowledge. It should be noted that the requirement of their jobs are getting more demanding regarding skills, knowledge, and professionalism.
That means officials must be lifelong learners. Although some of us have graduated from universities and have master's degrees or doctorates, there are limits to our knowledge, and the world is changing fast. In that case, we go to party schools, administrative colleges, official education academies, or official training bases operated in partnership with universities where we can acquire new knowledge about finance and information technology. We constantly encourage party officials to learn by combining regular study with centralized group study. Regular study, as we know, is for one to learn in one's workplace or through online platforms such as 学习强国 and online official academies, etc. Government agencies must organize internal study sessions. Study may be organized by the party branch committee of such an institution, or it can be organized by the party committee. There are rules in place for this kind of regular study.
Short course training is a key part of how the party educates and trains its cadres, its officials. But how can short courses cultivate cadres' adaptability to the needs of the times, particularly for county party secretaries? How could such training help them handle local risks and problems in diverse fields?
Many CPC secretaries at the county level are often inspired during group study. Some of them come from very remote mountainous areas in western China, such as the high-altitude regions of Tibet and Qinghai, or from the Gobi Desert in Xinjiang, where they need to spend 2 or 3 days riding horses or camels when going out for a visit or inspection. If the weather is bad, they might have to eat and sleep in the wild. In comparison, the CPC secretaries of counties in eastern China, such as in the Pearl River Delta, may travel to Hong Kong at one time and to Macau the next. They may be attracting investment and ride in nice cars and may deal with people from the Hong Kong business community. When these officials sit together for a training program, they can learn from each other and strive for mutual improvement.
互相的促进和学习，同来自方方面面的领导干部一起做同学，一起学习。
The experience of officials studying with others from different parts of China is also very helpful. The students who come to study at Young Official Program of the Central Party School are the best of their ranks and are carefully selected by the CPC. They have obvious advantages in their own fields, regions, and positions. So, by studying with those who come from different parts of China, an official can learn a lot of useful things from them. We have always emphasized the link between theory and practice. Our theories are derived from practice and are used to guide practice.
For example, we may invite policymakers of the ministries and commissions of the central government or department heads to share with us the issues they are most concerned with at the moment, why they have to make certain policies, and what the repercussions of these policies are. We also invite chief executives of financial institutions, such as the SSE or the SZSE, to talk about the stock market and economic issues that people care most about so that officials can expand their horizons and learn some knowledge and concepts about these issues. As a result, in their decision-making and daily work, they will take into account the factors that will affect the local economy or financial work.
What's the training goal for these county party secretaries, who are the top leaders of local political institutions, including the local government, the local NPCs, and CPPCCs?
There are a few bad apples. It's indeed an honor for one to be selected as an excellent party secretary at the county level, but it doesn't mean you can always get your way. You still need to govern a county under the rule of law. You cannot do whatever you want to do, such as build your own pet projects or vanity projects. You can't flagrantly violate the law. The law is the boundary within which you exercise your authority, and you must act under the rule of law.
我们过去一些人之所以出问题，是因为党性出了问题。
In the past, some party officials had problems because they failed to observe the party line. Their virtue instead of their talent was compromised. An official needs to have both virtue and talent. Those who have virtue but no talent are like substandard products. Those with neither talent nor virtue are like waste products. And those with talent but have no virtue are like drugs. If an official has great talent but has no virtue or commitment to the party, then he may do even worse things and have a much greater negative impact.
We used to have officials who made shallow decisions or gave investors cast iron promises but later reneged. They offered lip service to project investors but never delivered on what they promised. If a problem arose, they were quick to shirk their responsibilities. How can we tolerate this? That's why we hold all officials accountable wherever they go.
We also teach lessons about such disgraced officials to help students understand what their problems were and how they can avoid making the same mistakes.
You always need to keep in your heart the party, the people, responsibility, and the law to be a good party secretary at the county level.
In the long course of revolution, construction, reform and opening up, and modernization, the CPC has developed clear cadre standards and policies for selecting and appointing cadres. In the new era, leading cadres at all levels must meet various basic requirements and qualifications.
唯票取人、唯分取人是党的18大之前
We used to have a problem in selecting candidates for promotion. Special attention was paid to the number of votes for recommendation an official could garner. If votes can determine a person's promotion, then he may care too much about how people view him. So he becomes afraid to stand up to the people around him and afraid to stick to his principles and take responsibility.
We tend to promote officials who are fair and decent, work by the rules, stay practical to get things done, and most importantly, win the recognition of the people.
During the past century, the CPC has established a set of principles for the selection and the grooming of leading officials. They shall meet their targets in all dimensions, including political commitment, moral righteousness, competency, and achievements. We often talk about the principle of virtue plus ability, but virtue before ability, so that the requirements for promotion are not just about doing a good job growing the economy. You must have virtue first and foremost.
So, the essential qualities a good official must have are firm conviction and bold action. The criteria for a good official in the new era can be summarized as firm in conviction, serving the people, being diligent and pragmatic, daring to take action, and clean and honest. One principle is to have a large pool of candidates from all over China and to select the best of them based on merit. In addition, there is also the need to put the greater cause first and select the right person to the right post so that the job can be done properly. We select officials for the cause of our party and our country. We don't select someone simply because he wants to be an official. If someone who is unfit for a job is given a particular position, he will feel unhappy, and we will also have problems in asking him to get things done.
It takes 10 years to nurture a tree, but 100 years to nurture a man. This is a proverb all Chinese are familiar with. All political systems have trade-offs, but it is fair to say that the CPC has made cadre education and training a fundamental way to improve its competence as a governing party.
As we enter a new stage of development, we need to adopt new approaches to our work. Where does the wisdom come from? It comes from reform and opening up, and from revisiting the history of the CPC itself.
Through learning, the CPC has come this far, and by continuing to learn, the CPC will build a better future. The CPC has been around for 100 years, and it is still in its prime. There are many reasons why the CPC has achieved what it has today, and one of the very important reasons is that it attached great importance to learning.
That is why we constantly provide them with education and training so that they will always have a very clear mind, a broad vision, an up-to-date knowledge structure, and can keep the can-do spirit and get things done on the ground. This is what it takes to run and develop the country well.
The CPC is the most successful entrepreneurial team in the history of China. It has turned the Chinese nation, which was so poor and weak after the Opium War and the Revolution of 1911, into the second largest economy in the world. There is much to learn here, and the purpose of learning is to provide a guide for the future.
As a party, it has to face a lot of complex problems at different times. It takes a strong ability to solve these problems. Learning is essential in order to constantly improving abilities. The CPC has set up party schools at all levels, even at the grassroots level, where almost all cadres and some ordinary party members can go and study. Such an arrangement is not available to all vast majorities of parties in the world.
So, the education and training of officials is the secret ingredient in the success of the CPC over the past century, and also that of the two major miracles in the 70-year-plus history of the PRC and the 40-year-plus history of reform and opening up.
A number of political parties have followed the CPC's lead and have established their own party schools. I visited several such party schools when I was abroad last year. I think that the CPC has become a successful example in being good at learning and attaching great importance to learning.
From the recruitment of officials and their selection and appointment to their training and assessment, this is a very complete chain of human resource management. That's why the organization department of the CPC Central Committee is known as the largest HR department in the world. It can make long-term overall planning and can find ways to train and groom an official for up to 10, 20, and even 30 years, something which cannot be done in the West.
I can argue that a critical success factor in China's transformation from a poor, weak country to the world's second largest economy is the quality, expertise, and experience of the country's senior officials, the large majority of whom are party cadres. From my early investigative tours of China, I have been impressed with the managerial quality of the party's local leadership, how well each party secretary knows his region or remit, with a firm grasp of granular quantitative data, economic, social, environmental, personnel. Of particular interest are the party secretaries of China's nearly 3,000 county-level administrative regions, the core of China's administrative system, where national policies get implemented, converting theory and policy into practice and real work. I recall mentioning casually to one county party secretary that I'd been impressed with a young cadre working on the anti-poverty campaign in a remote mountain village. The very next day, that county party secretary changed his schedule to visit that young cadre, perhaps to learn his best practices, perhaps to mark him for advancement. Now, that's action. In terms of the CPC's national governance system, the CPC organization department is responsible for all senior officials in every sector of Chinese society: central and local governments, media, education, state-owned enterprises, NGOs, think tanks, and the like. Personally, I've come to know the CPC organization department, and I can corroborate how seriously they take their responsibilities for selecting, educating, training, and monitoring officials. They quantify and systematize personnel data, and they apply common standards. While all political systems have trade-offs, in providing professional managers for running society, there is something to learn from China's party-based personnel system to be closer to China.